myself set up. We gotta have blankie on right now. Okay. Always with my
ホワイトティーのレノアハホテルバスローブのような滑らかさ。5つ星ホテルが認めたレノアハピネス。他のもぜひ。最大27,000円相当。JA バンク、あなたの暮らしにプラス JA プレゼント。バスローブのような滑らかさ。5つ星ホテルが認めたレノアハピネス。他のもぜひ。最大27,000円相当。JA バンク、あなたの暮らしにプラス JA プレゼント。バスローブのような滑らかさ。
Okay, commercials, go away. Thank you. Alrighty. Let's get... It is so hot in here. Microphone hooked up. Oh, I don't know what that. And where are you, microphone cord? There we are. No one's here yet. I'm so hot. It's so hot in here. My hair might have to go up because it is a little bit toasty. Hello! Thank you! I cannot believe it's been 5 years already. It's so wild. Gotta get all my drink goblin setup going on over here so you can't see it. Alrighty, where are you, GarageBand? So the audio only listeners can hear. Okay, GarageBand, thank you. Thank you guys for joining. I'm so excited that you're all here. Does everybody have their drinky drinks? I've got 3. I've got water, I've got apple juice, and I have coffee. So we're set. We're ready to go for this situation if it can cool down. What drinky drink or snack are you partaking in right now? Please let me know. All right. Here we go. GarageBand is almost set up. And we're ready. We're just going to wait a few minutes for everybody to come. Thank you, Marissa. I know, 5 years. It's bananas. It's so crazy that I've been doing this for 5 years. But we'll get into it. We'll get into all the questions here in a second. Give everybody a chance to come and get settled in, and then we'll start the full episode. I have compiled all the questions. This year we have more questions than we've ever had in previous years, so this is really cool. We've got a lot of them. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20. Oh my god, we have over 40 questions. Some of them have been combined. Compounded? I hate that word. Have been combined. Yeah, that's how you say that. So very similar questions were put into the same category. So hopefully it goes well. No, it will go well. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine. I always get so nervous. One of the questions was, why don't you go live more often? Because I'm nervous. I'm a nervous little lady. I can record myself doing anything, but speaking live is really hard for me. in the nervousness department. Okay. We are good. We're good to go. I'm going to wait until 8:40, I think, so give us a few more minutes. Hi, Rita. So happy you're here. And then we'll get started. So, because you guys are little early birdies, I am going to show you what is coming up next in the mini museum series. So, Patreon members decided on a poll what we were going to do for the next mini museum series, and they chose painting of the Library of Alexandria and some banned books. So I finished the banned books and they look really, really cool. So I Know Where the Caged Bird Sings, which I love this book. And then I also chose The Handmaid's Tale. It's a little bit messed up, but it's still pretty cool. And then there's quotes on the inside, so I'm so excited about this. And I'll hopefully get my calendar's right here. I'll get the mini museum episode out to the general public on May 6th, and it'll be out on the 29th for Patreon members. So incredibly stoked about this on my little shelf o curiosities. So that'll just be hanging out back here. And I'll get to making the Library of Alexandria one very, very soon. So cannot wait for that. I hope you enjoy the mini museum series. I love making it because it gives me a little bit of a creative outlet. So that's really fun. Woo, 2 more minutes and then we will get started. And if at any time you have a bonus question when we are doing the Q&A time now, please feel free to leave it in the chat. Please feel free to leave it in the chat, and yeah, I'll be happy to answer them. So, mini museum series. Yeah, you didn't know about that. That's okay. So, mini museum series is super new. There's only 1 episode out, and in that series, I'll show you one little guy that I made. So this is a Japanese dogu, and you see the process of me making it, and then I go through the history of what it is, where it was found, things like that. So yeah, you have to go watch that episode. It's in the mini museum series folder on my channel, so you can go and see that. But I'm glad that you're here and you found us and you're a part of the History BFF Club. So thanks for being here. Alrighty, T-1 minute, everybody. I'm gonna drink some apple juice. I am a child, in fact. Apple juice and grape juice are the greatest juices of all time. And I will fight somebody about that. All right. I think we're ready, everybody. Okay. Here we go. Okay. All right. I'm not nervous. Everything's fine. Okay. Welcome, friend. I'm TK, your tour guide to the past, and you are listening to For the Love of History, the podcast where we talk about world history, women's history, and weird history. And today we are celebrating a monumentous occasion. We are celebrating the 5th anniversary of For the Love of History podcast, and I am so excited that you decided to join me today, whether it's in the live on YouTube or whether you're listening to this after the fact. Thank you so much for all of the new delicious donuts and all of the day one OG delicious donuts. We have a few of them in the chat right now. I appreciate you guys more than you will ever know. You have completely changed my life, and I appreciate it so stinking much. So thank you for that. To celebrate the 5th year anniversary of For the Love of History podcast, we have decided to do a Q&A, a live Q&A Every year we do one of these. Well, I think for the past 3 years, not every year. The first 2 years I pre-recorded them. Then I decided to do them live, and yeah, it's been our tradition ever since. So I polled everybody on Instagram and Patreon and and YouTube, all of the various social medias that I have to maintain, to ask their questions about podcasts, living in Japan, history stuff, anything. So today we're going to go through podcast and production questions. We're going to go through personal journey and reflections, historical interests and preferences, hypotheticals and time travel. Obviously that was going to have to be its own category because you all ask such funny questions. And then creative projects and aspirations, and then I'm going to probably cry at the end, so get your tissues out for that. So let's get started. Okay, so we'll get started with personal journey and reflections. So the first question that we have from a delicious donut is, when did your love of history start, and did you always love history in school, or what sparked it? So if you are an OG delicious donut, then you probably know the answer to this, but for all of our new history besties, I did not always love history. I did not always love reading. I didn't always love school, to be perfectly honest with you. I've got a touch of the neurospice, so my mother can attest that I think it was around 6th grade-ish where I finally started to read because of this one book called The Secret Journey. And then my love for history started because of my dad. And that man loves pirates. We used to live in Virginia, and we lived super, super close to Norfolk, Virginia. And if you're not a pirate fanatic like I am, maybe you don't know, but Norfolk, Virginia was like the place for pirates in Virginia. Richmond was also a pretty big pirate area, but like Norfolk was like there are pirates out the wazoo over there. And my dad was like, hey, you want to go to the pirate festival? And I was like, what? Dad, there's a pirate festival? He's like, yeah, pirate. It's like a historical festival. And I was like, wait, you're telling me that pirates are a part of history? And he was like, yeah, they are. And I was like, oh my God. And so we went to the pirate festival. I think we went almost every single year that we lived in Virginia, and that's how it started. My dad had a poster of all of the different symbols that you could have on a pirate flag on a poster in the garage. when most people have, hot girls and cars as posters in their garage, my dad had pirate posters, and he would quiz me on the different symbols to see if I could remember them, and I could remember all of them. And now I can remember a fair amount, but yeah, that's how it started. My love of pirates sparked my love of all other types of history. So yeah, that's my story of my love of history. And then my love of Japanese history started in university with my professor, Dr. Woods, and he was just a fabulous, fabulous professor. I loved him so much. He's just so great. He's so great. Yeah, cheers to history, Dad. Indeed, Rita. Okay, so next one. Are history mom and dad proud? If not, they should be. Yeah, they're super proud. In fact, history mom is in the chat right now. She's here. And she just posted a comment that I started loving to read in 5th grade. So The Secret Journey, and Mr. something, forgot his name. But yeah, history mom and history dad are extremely proud. My mom constantly wears history, For the Love of History merch all the time. So does my dad. And yeah, they're incredibly proud. History Mom has been on the podcast before on a special birthday episode, and History Dad's special birthday episode, is extremely late, but it is filmed and it is on the editing floor right now. So I'm trying to get through that, and it will be posted soon, hopefully. Okay, next question. If you could send a message to 2020's TK that just made I can read, I promise. If you could send a message to 2020's TK that just made For the Love of History, what would you tell her? I would tell her to get a microphone. First of all, I would definitely tell her to get a microphone because the first like 5 episodes sound like hot garbage. But on a more serious note, I would tell her to just keep on going. Like every other year, there's like a time when I'm like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I shouldn't do this anymore. Who am I? Like, this is stupid. No one listens to me. And I would just tell her to keep on keeping on, and then I would tell her to, oh God, what would I tell her? I would definitely tell her to start YouTube as soon as possible. You can film on your phone, and it's totally fine, because YouTube is so fun. And then I would tell her that ask for help. Ask people for help, please, so that you don't burn yourself out like every other 6 months. So yeah, that's what I would tell 2020's TK, because I wouldn't want to spoil it and tell her that we're going on for 5 years. What do you wish everyone knew but no one asked? Editing takes a really fucking long time. That's what I wish everybody knew. Editing takes so long. The majority of my workflow is just editing. I spend maybe like 6 to 10 hours editing, depending on what type of episode it is. Like what is her name? Oi, gosh, dang. The Oi Hokusai's daughter episode took so long because there was so many pictures. There were so many little pieces of each picture that I needed to show and display and move around, and that episode took me like 10 hours to edit. The research part, it takes a while. I think that takes the second most amount of time. The recording itself, because I go off of a script, only takes me about an hour and a half at most. But yeah, the editing part takes so long. So that is the thing that I wish everybody knew. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that question, by the way. Is there anything you would do differently after 5 years? Yeah. After 5 years, the thing that I would do differently, I think would have to be having more having more things prepared in advance of this season. Sometimes I get stuck on different topics, and I get usually stuck on the first 3 topics of each season. So I wish I had more prep done before the season. But that's on ADHD and executive functioning skills. So that's the one thing that I wish I did more. And start a YouTube channel quicker, faster is what I would tell my past self, future self. Somebody asked how I do my taxes, and I do my taxes online. I get everything online, and then I go, because I live in Japan, I go through expat taxes, which is an excellent service if there's any other people who are running their own business and and living overseas, at least as an American. If you're not an American, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, expat taxes, that's what I'll do. And next one is, why Japan? Did you choose it or did it choose you? That is such a good question. So I studied Japanese history in university, and I was a 7th grade world history teacher. And I did that for a year, and then I graduated. And then, because in the state of Idaho, you can teach as long as you're in your last year/semester of university. So that's how that happened. So I was a world history teacher for 1 year, graduated, and they offered me a position because I worked in a school that had 2 teams. So like one 7th grade classroom, or one 7th grade grade, but 2 different teachers for each subject, because there was like blue team and red team or something like that. And the blue team teacher was retiring after being at the school for 35 years. And my 21, I think I was at the time, 22-year-old self was like, oh my God. Being at the same school for 35 years, had a little quarter life crisis, and Google searched teaching jobs overseas. And because I had studied Japanese history, the teaching jobs in Japan were really enticing to me. I was like, ooh, I can go to Japan and travel around and teach and stuff like that. And I'll just do it for 2 years. And then I came, and then I was like, oh, just for 3 years. And then I met my husband, and I was like, oh, forever, I guess. So that's why Japan. Yeah. Great question. Next one is, I'm still newish to your channel. One thing that I've been burning to know, why did you move to Japan? Oh, yeah. I just answered that question. I don't know why I didn't combine this one. Anyways, love the podcast. Keep rocking. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's move to podcast and production stuff before we get into the historical interests and things like that. So the first question, and I got this question like, I think 7 times, a repeat of 7 different people asking this question. So the question is, what is the metronome sound at the end of your podcast? So the metronome sound at the end of the podcast is a mistake. It's a mistake that I made when I was turning on GarageBand for the first time. You might not know this, but when you open up a audio recording file to like start recording audio, there's an automatic metronome button that's always clicked on at the top. So when you immediately open it up, the metronome is automatically clicked on, and I didn't know that. So I hit record, and I immediately was like, what is the metronome? Like, I was so confused. And then I found the button, and then I turned it off. And that's what it is. That's the first ever thing I ever recorded on GarageBand. And I remember there's so many shows, like especially comedy shows, that have those final little clips at the end where it's like, that's good soup, or like scrambled eggs. I think that's Seinfeld. I can't remember, but there's like these sign-off things that some people had, and I thought that was a really funny sign-off for me to have, and so it's been at the end of almost every single podcast episode that has come out in the last 5 years. There was 1 time or 2 times that I forgot to put the metronome out on there, and I got like 15 different messages on Instagram, and I think like 2 emails like, where's the metronome? Is everything okay? Where's the metronome? Please tell me you're not taking out the metronome. And I was like, no, I just forgot. So that's the reason why we have the iconic metronome, and it's only for podcast listeners. I don't put it on YouTube. YouTube gets the bloopers. Next question is, in the process of making your videos, what would you say is the most difficult part? Yeah, like I said earlier, the editing is the most difficult part. Editing is so tough. And also, sound mixing. Sound mixing is really hard, especially when you've spent the past 5 years listening to your own voice. Love myself, love my voice, but listening to it all the time is not my favorite. So that's a really difficult part. But metronome is not in an episode. TK's listeners, are you in a hostage situation? Yes, Lisa, you're right. They were like, is everything okay? What's happening? that I feel the love. Thank you so much. But yeah, those are the two hardest processes of the whole friggin' episode and video making process. Is it difficult to deal with internet idiots? You know what? Maybe it's because I'm not controversial enough. I'm not sure what it is, but I don't really get many internet idiots. I don't get many trolls, which is really nice. There is one very iconic troll that lives in the lore of For the Love of History, and many of you, I'm sure, will know what it is. Or what the situation was that gave us one of our mascots. So I'm going to take a sip of juice and see if anybody comes up with it in the comments. Ding, 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 Rita, you got it. White hippo. The white hippo incident. So there was a fella, I don't even remember what reel it was on, but the dude called me a white hippo for some reason. Oh yeah, a white hippo. And that's what he called me. And then obviously Delicious Donuts were on his case, and were not having it. They were not taking it. So I made merch for the History Hippos. So I have a History Hippo merch design now. If you go on the merch store, it's there. I have it. I've made money off of that man's insult. It didn't really bother me because it was so weird. It was just a weird comment. He was like, "Shut up, you white hippo." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And History Hippos just rolls off the tongue so beautifully that I was like, all right, I got a big t-shirt out of this. And it is one of the best-selling designs that I have. Okay. Yeah, and other than that, I don't really have any... Oh, Ted, hi! Hello, you come to say hello? Are you going to come sit down here? Ted is joining us, everyone. You come in? You going to lay down? Pause for Ted. Pause for Ted. Okay, you going to sit down? What are you doing? You going to say hi to everybody? No, you cannot have pen. Come on. What are we doing with our lives? What's happening? Are you going to lay down? Yes. Oh, yes. Cute little girl. Okay, let's get you in your burrito. Excuse me while I wrap up my cat. Pardon me. She needs her wrap up time. Okay. Excellent. The Ted. Oh no. We are not secure. We are not secure. Okay. All right. The Ted has been wrapped up in her little burrito down here. She's all set to go. Oh, thank you, Teddy. Okay. What was I saying? Internet trolls. Yeah. It doesn't really happen very much. So I'm super lucky that I don't have that. the History Besties are just a fantastic community, and if there's ever, any trolls in the comments, y'all take care of it. So it's really nice. Thank you for that. What is your favorite reel of all time? Ooh. Victorian nipple rings is always good. The Victorian nipple rings reel is fantastic. I love that one. I have a top three. Sobek, the God of Baby Gravy reel is also really, really good. And then the one that I don't think a lot of people like, but I really like it, is I did this stupid little skit with a bunch of face filters about a very petty monk situation. It was it was me doing a little reel about, there's a temple close by called Kampira-san, and they are an independent shrine, and they're not attached to any official organization because paperwork got lost in the mail. Their official religious paperwork got lost in the mail, and they felt extremely slighted. So they were like, fine, we're going to be our own independent situation. We're not going to be attached to you, imperial system. And they are. They're one of, if not the only, independent temples in Japan. Old religious men are petty wherever you go. So that's one of my, it's not very popular, but it's one of my favorites. I really love it. Okay, next one. Why have you started your podcast? And also, which episodes are your top 5 favorites? Oh, that's a great question. So, I started my podcast during the pandemic. It's a pandemic pod, as I like to call them. And I started it because I was really, really missing, sorry, Ted is slipping in her little burrito down here. Anyways, I really missed teaching history and talking about history and doing history stuff. And I had so much time because my class schedule was cut really, really short because I was teaching English and we couldn't speak. The kids couldn't speak. They could not come to school because I live in a really rural area. So a lot of the kids lived up in the mountains with no Wi-Fi. So we couldn't equip everyone with online learning stuff. So we had to come to school, but the kids couldn't talk to each other. And so my class schedule was cut down by half, more than half, really. And I just had so much time to do stuff. And after all of my school work thingies were done, I just toyed with the idea of making a podcast because I loved the History Chicks. I would listen to the History Chicks all the time. I rode my bike all the time, so I would put one headphone in and listen to the History Chicks while I was riding my bike. And I thought, hell, I could do that. I can do it. I've got a phone. My phone has a microphone. Let me just give it a try. And that's on Neurospicy Audacity. And the first episode was recorded on my old, what is it called? iPad mini. You know those teeny tiny iPad minis? I recorded the first episode on there, and then I just sent that audio file to my mom and my 2 best friends and Rin, who was just my boyfriend at the time. We had just started dating. And everyone was like, wow, this is really cool. I think you could do this. And I was like, let me give it a try. So there is an unreleased Turkey God episode. The Turkey God episode is the very, very first one that I ever released. And somewhere on my little iPad mini, there is an unreleased Turkey God episode. So, oh, Ted, are we leaving? What are we doing? Yeah, there's an unreleased Turkey God episode out there, and maybe if I can find my iPad mini, I'll be able to upload that maybe someday. So yeah, that's how and why I started the podcast. I just wanted to talk to people. I just wanted to talk. That's all. And I wanted to educate on history things and make history fun, and yeah, that's why I wanted to do it. And so, top 5 favorites. Ooh, this is like asking me which cat is my favorite. Obviously, number 1 is Sobek. The Sobek episode just holds such a dear place in my heart and the History Bestie's heart. In fact, today I'm wearing these earrings were commissioned for me by a Delicious Donut and her family. So these are Sobek. The artist drew them. They freehanded these, and they're my favorite earrings of all time. I love them. And then over here we have a little don't fall. A Sobek magnet given to me by that same Delicious Donut who gave me these earrings. So Sobek is such an important episode in the lore of For the Love of History. So I love it. So that's definitely number 1. Number 2, Victorian nipple rings, obviously. Number 3, it's a sad one, but the Shiraume, the cave nurses of World War II, the Okinawa cave nurses of World War II. That episode idea was actually given to me by History Mom. So she told me about that topic because she sat next to a lady on an airplane and they got talking, because that's the kind of person my mom is, and they somehow got to talking about that subject. And yeah, that's definitely number 3. And number 4 would have to be the Turkey God, because it was the first one. That one was really good. The Turkey God was fabulous. So that's number 4. And then number 5, goodness. Number 5, I would have to say, is the 40 Elephants. That episode was really, really good. 40 Elephants was fantastic. And it was the first semi-viral, and by viral I mean 12,000 views on YouTube. So yeah, that one's a good one. That one's a really good one. So those are my top 5s. Okay, next question. How has doing this podcast for this long affected your other teaching? Great question. So I am no longer a classroom teacher since we moved here to our new place. There's no international schools around. We used to live in Hiroshima, and I taught in an international school there, so it was really hard to balance, full-time homeroom teacher for a bunch of 4th graders and the podcast as well. So when we moved here, I went into online teaching, which is a lot easier for me, because I don't have to wear pants. I do wear pants. I wear pajama pants, okay? And a nice top. I'm not an animal, okay? So there hasn't been really much effect to my teaching. My teaching life and my podcast life stay pretty separate, to be honest. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing. So great question. Thank you so much. Next one is not a question, but it is a statement. Have more of Ted in the videos. I promise I will do my best. She is a fickle starlet. And even if you don't see her in the episodes on YouTube, she's pretty much always sitting in her burrito on my lap in a little cocoon. So she's here right now. You can't see her, but she is right here. And alrighty, that's it for podcast and production. You have waited a long time, my friend, and it is time to finally get to the historical and hypothetical situations. Let's do it. Okay. First one. What is your biggest pet peeve of a historical misconception? Let me tell you. Look into my eyes right now. Look into my orbital sockets, because I need you to hear me when I say this. The biggest pet peeve that I have of a historical misconception is that samurai were doing seppuku all over the place, and that they were these like extremely loyal, extremely like, you know, loyalty driven dudes that were just fighting all the time. Okay, no, they were not loyal. If they were extremely loyal, then we wouldn't have had the Sengoku period, the Warring States period. We wouldn't have the Genpei Wars. We wouldn't have all this stuff. Those motherfuckers are shiesty. So shiesty. They were not loyal at all. And this idea that samurai were like these like big burly men who were just, you know, committing, ritual suicide all the time. That's not true. That's not a thing. Ritual suicide was way more rare than media would lead you to believe. They were like fighting all the time and stuff, but they wouldn't have to kill themselves if they didn't win and things like that. That would be stupid and useless and a waste of a good soldier, you know? And then the last thing, I'm so upset. In the Edo period, which is like 1667 to 1860 something, that's when like the samurai were at their height in terms of power over Japan. Not in terms of like, well, yeah, they were fighting a lot, you know, but anyways, during that time, they were super into calligraphy. They were into tea ceremony. They were into flower arranging. They were into matching their clothes. They were into the sumptuary laws were happening right then, and only the samurai class could wear, very luxurious clothing. And even some of the most well-known manly warlords, the shoguns, like Oda Nobunaga, that man wore women's clothing. He would do a fan dance. He loved the fan dance, which was typically feminine, art. He loved tea ceremony. He loved flower arranging. Another one, I believe it was Tokugawa Ieyasu, I think it was, Tokugawa Ieyasu, who had, he loved tea ceremony so much that he had a portable tea ceremony room created for him to take with him everywhere he went. And the inside of it was completely golden. It was gilded. The whole room was gilded. And that was his thing. The man loved tea ceremony. So that is my biggest pet peeve. I hate that. Anyways, but now you know, so you can help me spread the word. Okay, let's go to the next one. What's the coolest historical misconception you discovered in your research? Ooh, the coolest one? The coolest historical misconception. Okay, so I did not know this. I didn't know this until maybe 3-4 years ago, which I feel like a bad historian for not knowing this. But when I was going through school, I thought that the Library of Alexandria just burned down all at once. Like it was like a big flashbang gone. But it was not. It like a large part of it burned down when Caesar, I think. Roman history is not my thing. But pretty sure it was Caesar who came in and he was like, burn everything, blah. A little bit of it, a good portion of it burned down, and then through neglect and wear and tear, then it just kind of like crumbled and decayed and things like that and came, to be obsolete basically. And that is a super cool misconception. I did not know that until a few years ago. So I don't like it. I wish it was still here, but it's so interesting. Okay, next one. Do you have a favorite base history topic you could talk about for hours? What is it? Women samurai. Women samurai. Onabugeisha, Onamusha, women samurai. I could talk about that shit for days. And ukiyo-e. Ooh, let me tell you. Ukiyo-e is woodblock prints. And I really want to get my master's in Japanese art history and have that be my area of study because I love that shit. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, so I could give a 30-minute TED talk just off the dome about those two topics. Next question is, what does it feel like to be a history agent? A person that makes history right. Aw, that's a great question. Thank you. I like that title, a history agent. I never considered myself a history agent. I never even thought of that as a title, so I love that. It's pretty sweet, to be honest with you. I really love it because history is so fun. And history, even when it's not fun, it's important, and there's so many topics. We can't know every single topic ever in the world. And so to be able to communicate the small part of history that I know about is cool, and it feels like I'm contributing to a greater movement of making history more accessible. I know people don't like social media, and there's a lot of discourse about how effective learning on social media is, and TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Reels and YouTube and stuff like that. But I think that it does more of a net positive than a net negative. And it feels cool to be able to help people find the love in history again. And I've gotten a few messages from people saying oh, because of your podcast, I went to school again. I started my master's. I decided to change my degree in university. So those messages that I get are really cool, and it makes me feel good to be an agent of history. Okay, here we go. Next, you are having a dinner party with 3 historical people. Who are they? Ooh, girl. 3 historical people. First of all, Onna no Komachi, who we just did a history apologies reel on. Oh, jeez, Ted. History apologies video too. And she is so cool. And she was such a prolific poet, but we don't know anything about her. Onna no Komachi is not even her real name. We don't know a lot of the real names of men or women during the Heian period, which was 300 to 700 CE. And it's just, they didn't write people's names down. Names were super secret and important. So they wrote their titles down and maybe their last name. So we don't know anything about her. So I would invite her. I would invite Hypatia. Not Hypatia. I'm researching Hypatia right now. What is her name? Hatshepsut, the other H. I would, invite Hatshepsut to ask her what the happened. I would ask her, why did her son destroy her stuff, if she knew. I just want to talk to her. Did she consider herself to be transgender? What was the deal with that? I want to talk to her about that. And then who Who? Last person. Sappho. I think Sappho. I would ask her to write down her poems for me, and then I could take them back, and like we could piece them together again. That's the three people. That's who I would invite. So Hatshepsut, I would invite Onna no Komachi, and I would invite Sappho. I think those are the three people. I might switch out Onna no Komachi for Murasaki Shikibu, who is the woman who wrote the first novel, The Tale of Genji. And yeah, I might, if Onna no Komachi was busy, I might sub out Murasaki Shikibu for the dead people dinner party. Okay, next one. If you could watch one historic event in person, only watch, which would you choose? Okay, I have goosebumps. I'm so glad somebody asked me this. So I would go to Honoji Castle and I would watch if Oda Nobunaga killed himself or if he was killed by his right-hand man, Maeda Keiji. That's what I would do. That's what I would watch. Because that's like one of the greatest mysteries in Japanese history is who killed Oda Nobunaga? Who killed him? Who? And then they burned down the castle. So, and then his right-hand dude died like 3 days later. So what? They were like best friends. Why would they kill each other? Or not each other. Why would he kill Oda Nobunaga? So I would sit there in the burning castle and watch what happened. And then I would come back and I'd tell everybody about it. And then they would think I'm a witch. And they would burn me! Okay. All right. If you could pick one historical figure to interview, who would it be? Ooh. I would interview basically the King Arthur of Japan, the first emperor, depending on who, or empress, depending on who you ask, Empress Kimiko of Japan. Because first of all, I want to see if she's a real person. That would be cool. And I want to ask her what Japan was like in a possible matriarchal society. That's what I would want to ask her, because during the time that she supposedly was reigning, China, like envoys would come to Japan, and they called Japan the Kingdom of Queens, or the Epoch of the Queens, I think that's what it was. And I want to know why. Why did you say that? but why though? Why did you say that? Why is it the Epoch of the Queens? So I would want to ask her. That's why. Yeah. That's who I would interview. Ooh, I love these questions. Okay, next. If you could pick, nope. Who is your metaphoric white whale? Who would you die to have on the show and interview? Ooh. My goodness. Well, I got two of my white whales, Dr. Lars and Dr. Ann, coincidentally two tattoo anthropologists. So I have interviewed them, which was really great. I would love to interview Caitlin Doherty about, she's the lady who does like death history. She is a mortician, and she wrote the book A Good Death. She's rewritten a bunch of other things. Unfortunately for me, wonderful for her, she is on a sabbatical right now, where she's not taking any interviews because she's working on another book. And yeah, I would love to interview her. That would be fantastic. That would be really, really, really great. Hopefully I can continue chaos emailing her and be able to have her on the podcast at some time because she's really, really cool. Yeah, that's who I would love. I would love to interview them. I've emailed her like 5 times. Caitlin, be my friend. Okay, if you could choose any civilization to be a time traveling exchange student in, which would it be? A time traveling exchange student? What a great question. Time traveling exchange student. If I could be a part of the aristocracy, if I could be a part of the court, then I would choose the Heian period. No. Yes? I'm gonna pick 2. I'm sorry. I would choose the Heian court and I would choose the Tang Dynasty court because the Tang Dynasty has the coolest makeup in all of history. In all of history, in my opinion, I think the Tang Dynasty court has the best makeup ever, and I would want to go and I would want to like dress up and I would want to try on their makeup and I would want to see all the courtly women writing poetry and like doing their like scandalous things. And yeah, that's what that's where I would go, or when I would go. And I would also go to the Heian court because for this same reason, like I want to dress up in like fancy. Sorry, somebody called me. um, yeah, that's what I would want to do. The Heian period, and I could learn how to write beautiful poetry, and I could see all of the women who we don't know anything about. But yeah, I would take 14 notebooks with me and I would just write everything down and I would come back and I would be the foremost expert in Heian and Tang Dynasty stuff. So that's what I would do. Okay, we're getting so close to the end. All right. What ancient I would also love to know what time traveling exchange student time period would you like to go to? Please let me know in the comments. What period in history would you go to? I would love to hear it. So let me know. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Okay, next. What ancient society that we know very little about would you visit to learn its secrets? Ooh, Göbekli Tepe! That's where I would go. I would go to Göbekli Tepe, which is a place that is older than the Sumerian civilization. It's older than Stonehenge by like several thousand years. So that's where I would go. Where would you guys go? Tell me where you would go. I would love to know. I'm gonna take a little sippy sip of coffee and look at our final few questions. Yeah. Oh, great question, Dallas. My favorite type of history, I love, and this is a recent development, I love art history, and fashion history. Not modern fashion history. I enjoy like ancient fashion history and like Tang Dynasty, Heian Dynasty, and art. I love art history so much. You don't like military history. You're into the makeup. Yeah. I'm not. It's not that I don't like military history. I don't like World War One and World War II history. I just don't like that kind of military history. I love things surrounding that time period, but yeah, military history isn't my jam. My dad's jam is military history. I do like things like I went to this place called Chidan, which is the second to last launch place for kamikaze pilots. The last launch place was in Okinawa. That was the last stand for the kamikaze pilots. And so Rin and I, we are just history masochists, I guess, because we've been to the Hiroshima Peace Memorial, we've been to the bomb epicenter, the bank, the hollowed out bank. We went to that together. We went to the Cheaton, which is the second to last launch place for the kamikaze pilots. And in that museum, the Cheaton Museum, they have the actual letters, because every kamikaze pilot, the kamikaze pilots, they all pretty much all wrote a final letter to be sent to their family. And in this museum, I think I cried just about as much as I cried in the Peace Memorial Museum in Hiroshima, because they have the pictures of the pilots whose average age was like 23. And then their picture had like a little number on it, and then down below there was the letter that corresponded with the person. And this museum had headset and little iPad that you could hold and like click the numbers, and they would read out the letters to you in like English, Spanish, Portuguese, Korean, a bunch of different languages. And that was like the single like most heart-wrenching museum I've ever been to. So if you are ever in Kagoshima and you want to go cry about history, I definitely recommend that museum. So yeah, let's see. We have so many comments right now. Marissa says, I think I'd like to visit Mayan period when they built the pyramids. I want to know why they left and how their society thrived. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. I would like to see the start of women's suffrage movement too. Marissa, oh, those are really good. Those are really good. And then we have our friend Dallas again. World War II history is boring. It's like kids are opposed with it, and certain adults avoid it. World War I is actually very interesting. Yeah, that's like World War One. Yeah, I would say if I had to choose between World War One and World War II, World War One definitely is more interesting. It's more. It's very sad as well. Interesting, sad. That there needs to be a new word for interesting / sad. So, in intrasad. Intrasad. I don't. That you guys come up with a better one than that. Sadristing. Oh, hey, that's a better one. And then, assuming I have all my vaccines, Lisa, that's good. That's using the big brains. Assuming you have all your vaccines and won't spread illnesses, maybe the Indus Valley. Oh, Lisa. Somewhere we don't know much about, but we have a reason to believe was peaceful. Yeah, that's really a great idea. Like the Indus Valley, the Fertile Crescent, like all of that, where like humanity is just starting to do its thing. If you have just joined us, we're talking about what historical time period we would like to do a exchange student program with. Like if we could go back in time and be an exchange student, what time period would we go to? Such a great question. I would also love to know which people you guys would have in your dinner party, your historic people, your dead people dinner party. What 3 historic figures would you like to have? Let me know. We got some more comments. I'd like to go to the Anasazi area in the Southwest, around the Four Corners in the United States, to learn where they went. We're all just wanting to know where people went. Where'd y'all go? That's really good. Oh, that's a good one. Thanks, Mom. Kids obsessed with it. Oh, okay. Got it. No. We got you, Dallas. No problem. I meant kids obsessed with it, and adults spell check is getting worse. No, you're fine. It's fine. I understood what you meant. And then, oh yeah, the Four Corners. People are enjoying the Four Corners idea. I think we might have to do an ongoing exchange program with that part of the world. Is it possible to have like, you know how exchange programs have like sister schools? We can have like sister time periods. We get somebody from the Anasazi, and then we send somebody there, and it's like a whole thing. That's great. That's a fantastic idea. Okay. Ooh, one of the questions while we get the comments about your historical exchange time period and your 3 people at your dead people party, dead people dinner, excuse me. I will read the next question, which is a really really cool one. If you had to write a book or direct a Netflix special on any person in history, who would you choose? So I'm gonna do a book and a Netflix special because I can. So if I could write a book, it would be about Tomoe Gozen, I think, because her life is greatly debated on whether she was real or not, even though she is in the Heiki Monogatari, Heiki Monogatari, which is like one of Japan's historical history books. And her section that is written about her is like one of the most studied in all of the Heiki Monogatari. So I would want to do more research and talk to some more historians and write a book about her, not in an effort to be like, she's real, but like follow her story if she's not real, or just discover as much as I possibly can. And if I had a Netflix special, if I could direct a Netflix special, oh God, what would I do? I would direct a Netflix special on the different periods, on the different, like, it's not a single person though. I'm slightly changing the premise of this question. I think I would do a Netflix special about the different makeup time periods all throughout China and their connection to religion and like the cultural temperature of the time. Like you can see, I will be coming out with a YouTube video probably I think next month. Yeah. No, next month in June. My calendar is right here, my content calendar. So next June, hopefully on the 3rd, I will be coming out with a Chinese makeup, like going through the different time periods. Yeah, that'll be a little series. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So you can wait for that. It's gonna be cool. Yeah, so that's what I would do a Netflix series on the different time periods and how the makeup reflects the temperature of the or the climate of the what's going on in society, because it's really really cool. It's really cool. I love makeup and fashion history too, girl. Marissa, right there. Okay. Another question. Okay. Oh, wow. We're on our last question, y'all. Last question. What are you looking forward to in the future? That's such a great question for our final question. If you have any more questions, please go ahead and leave them in the chat right now. So yeah, I'll give you plenty of time to do that, but I'll answer this question first. So in the future, I luckily will be able to hire my heretofore or hereto since, I don't know, up until now, she has been my unpaid intern, my best friend. She's been helping me with a few things here and there on the podcast, and I'm just getting to the point where I cannot physically do everything by myself because there's just a lot. There's, all of the social media platforms, the reels, the YouTube, the research, the writing, the editing, the articles that I write, the interviews that I do, the books that I read. Everything is it's just getting to the point where I physically, mentally, and spiritually cannot do it by myself anymore. So she will be joining me next week to help prepare for season 11, and she's going to be my intern, my my helper, my assistant, my first employee, which is really exciting. And we're going to be working together to work on season 11, and also to help me make this my full-time job, because I don't know if you know this, but this is not my full-time job. I still teach. And yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. So that's what I'm looking forward to. We're going to be doing more YouTube exclusive videos. Like, we've got the second mini museum episode coming out. We have, because you guys are on the live, I'm going to tell you what we're doing on YouTube. So we have I have $100 at an antique store, and we're gonna go to the antique store, and we're gonna see what we can get for $100 or 10,000 yen, which is $100, and then check out the items, see their histories and things like that. Then we have the Chinese makeup series coming out as well, so that's going to be really exciting. We're going to be doing more stuff on Patreon. We'll be starting the History is Lit Patreon exclusive podcast with me and the unpaid intern. Lots of things are coming. I'm working on developing or getting enough funding to develop an app. Yeah, so there's a bunch of things in the works that's going to be coming. And I'm really excited about that. And I would love to write a book this year, or at least get enough of a manuscript down to send it to a publisher. That would be great. And I'm not going to tell you what the topic is. It's a secret. It's a secret between me and Ted. Okay, let's read some of these comments that we got through. We need time travel exchange students for pre-Christian Europe and for indigenous American history. Oh, heck yes. Yes. That sounds so good. Okay. If we are doing a time travel exchange student program, I think we're going to need a translation. Do we need a translation implant, or should the people just go back and do their best and try to learn the language? What do you think? Implant, so that we can automatically know the language, or just struggle bus it until you learn what everybody is saying? What do you think? Syrian Jade Zhao would be on your wavelength to collab with Chinese makeup and on not doing everything yourself front. Yeah, no, you're right. I love them so much. I read their book and it is amazing. I'm waiting for my other one to come in. That would be such a good job. Thank you, Lisa. That's I never even thought about that. That is such a good idea. Crystal, sorry for coming in so late, and if this has already been asked, please ignore. Is there a historic food that you have read about and want to try? Or one that sounds absolutely horrid to you? Oh my gosh, Crystal. No, this question has not been asked. This is a great question. For a food that I would not like to try, ever in my life, literally anything. I'm sorry if anybody is English from here, but I would not like to try anything from pre-colonization England. It sounds disgusting. Before they got spices. No, thank you. Just all of it. Just no thank you. And then the thing that I would like to try is any dish with that one herb from ancient Rome that was so delicious that they just ate it into extinction. I really want to try that because I want to know what it tastes like. So badly. Oh my god, it sounds so good. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Crystal. That's a great question. Okay, we have a consensus on the implant. Implant. Yeah, implant feels like a good way. You're right, Lisa. Implant does feel like a good way to also prevent messing with the timeline. Yeah, so I feel that we were all on the same page with implant. So in the process of getting your assigned location for your student, your time period student exchange program, you will get your specially issued implant. Great idea, everyone. Alrighty, well, I don't want to keep your guys's, time. It is 9:45. We've been talking for almost 2 hours. I would love to know if anybody has any final questions that I could answer for you. If there's anything you want to know, let me know, and we'll call this our last 10 minutes of the live today. I'm so happy with the way this went. Thank you everybody for joining me. This was fantastic. So yeah, any final questions, just let me know. Let me know. My coffee is extremely cold now. Oh, we should do this more often. I feel like we need to do this. One of the things that I did want to do is do a live quiz. I'm not quite sure how we would do a quiz live on the tube of the U, but I want to figure that out, because I think that would be really fun to do together, like on the occasion. Let me know what you think. I would love to do that as well. Oh, hello. Thank you for the email. Okay. Oh, you liked it, Marissa. Yay. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. It's just fun to talk to y'all, because when I do the episodes, I just speak into the abyss. I look at right on the back wall. There is. Let me just show you. On the back wall, there is a lithograph. Can you see it? I hope you can see it. A lithograph of of some shells. So that's what I look at. That's what I look at when I'm recording these episodes, and the YouTube and the podcast and everything. So that's what I look at. So it's nice to know that there's somebody on the other side of the camera instead of just abyss. Oh, you're so welcome, Marissa. Yeah, I was super nervous at the beginning, but now I'm cool. Now it's great. Now it's good. And I think if I do this more, it'll be less nerve-wracking. So, okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. This was so fantastic. I had the greatest time. Honestly, like, oh my God, here it comes. Here comes the tears. I gotta blanket myself up really quick. Like, this, we may not be the biggest podcast, and we may not have the largest community, but the community that we do have is so wonderful. God, why am I crying? And I just appreciate, like, all of you so much. And yeah, as much as, some people say that I've, like, changed their lives, which feels weird to say. Like, you all have changed my life so much. Goodness. TK, stop. Hold on. This is something I've never said on any of the Q&As, but I was, like, super bullied in school for, like, being annoying and talking too much. It feels really cool to be able to have this community, and you just, like, you're here because you want to hear what I have to say, and that's really cool. Because for much of my school years, nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. In fact, they wanted me, like, to be quiet all the time. So it's really nice. It's really lovely. And I appreciate you all so much. And thank you for everything. I'm crying. Tears. My makeup was so cool today. Yeah, so thank you. I appreciate you all, and I love you so much. So make sure that you drink your water, do something kind for yourself, take care of yourself this week, go outside, touch some grass. I'm gonna drink some. It's juice, so it's not water, but it's still hydration. Thank you from the absolute bottomest of my heart. I love so much, and I'll see you next week when we talk about an Empress baddie. A very, very requested Empress baddie. So, mwah, 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 mwah. I love you so much. And now I'm going to figure out how to turn this off. Ah! Yeah. Okay. See you later. Bye.